Richie Mars, we're here to do a preview for the Raw debut on Netflix. A little PTI style, if you're here with us on YouTube and not audio. We got all the subjects there that we are going to discuss. So, Richie, which one did you pick to discuss first here on this Netflix debut preview?
Let's see. I picked John Cena's return. This is the kickoff to his retirement tour, and it's going to be this whole year-long storyline, I imagine, and it's going to be all John Cena based, and so 2025 is going to be the year of Cena.
I love it, and I trust them, right? I trust them to do a good job, even though in the last 7-8 years they really let that John Cena performance dwindle because the name is still electric, right?
Mm-hmm.
He showed at the end of 2023 that he's still a drawing power for this company, hands down. But I don't want to say they bastardize him as a performer, but it's not what it could or should be. But I trust them to get them there. What is the first pivotal part that they should do to get them for that potential main event, night 1 or 2 main eventer? That would be crazy for us to say last year, but now what do they need to do right away to get him hot?
Well, the last story that John Cena was a part of was the I think over 2,000-day losing streak for televised one-on-one matches. So that has to be clear-cut the first story that you have to address or at least tell, whether it's a short-term story or a long-term story. And I feel like the two things that you got to kind of address right off the bat is I feel like since this is Cena's first thing, I think we might be getting a very short John Cena Austin Theory thing, just a night of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller come out. They just kind of taunt Cena, with Austin being the one who could take credit for his downfall. Then you have a match right there and then John Cena, AA, bing bada boom, there we go. And then you could slowly move to Solo Sikoa, whether it's the Rumble or maybe the Chamber.
His failures. He's getting across the failures first. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So it's that. I feel like that's a big elephant in the room for a lot of people. But at the same time, you're going to have a lot of people who are just going to disregard that because it's Cena's last year. So it's not like a necessity sort of deal to go through Theory or Solo, but it would be nice just to kind of put a bow on both those kind of programs of Cena's past failures.
No, sure. They definitely cannot ignore Richie, can you remind us what you just said? How many days losing streak?
It's over 2,000, I believe.
And he is your Babe Ruth. Say less, right? Not what are we doing? But I know he's a very giving man. It's probably his idea, right? So how can he present himself from being not so focused on this WWE career to giving it all and seeing what he can do? There's a few attributes that he needs to do. He could do, right? 17th time world champion, perhaps intercontinental champion, whatever. Something if they wanted to present him as their whatever, right? He finds himself on that brand where that title lies. A few other things that he could do as well. Anything outside the box. He could have some marquee matches like Logan Paul that I don't think is a WrestleMania match, but definitely would be a great elimination chamber match to go over a hurdle or something, or a Saudi match perhaps would be Logan Paul. So there's definitely some things to do. What mountains do you suspect him to kind of go after?
Well, I said 2 right off the bat, being Theory and Solo. I think Logan Paul is again another thing that I think both people, I know Cena's talked about, Logan's talked about it as something that both of them are mutually interested in. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that at maybe a SummerSlam or anything like that, because it is a huge time matchup, not just for WWE, but for the eyes outside of WWE. And that's always going to be a focus.
Sure.
And with John Cena in particular, I wouldn't count out even if it's a short term, maybe a more heel run. Oh. You see, when the whole Final Boss thing happened, John Cena was raving about The Rock and raving about how Rock taught him a lot of things. And it wouldn't surprise me if we get that kind of short term thing with him and potentially Cody, just because the reason why they didn't turn John Cena before was there was no one realistic enough to take his place as that top babyface. But now WWE has had something they haven't had in a long time, and that's Cody Rhodes as that superhuman babyface that for whatever reason he is universally loved. He's in that position and he's the right guy at the right time for that position. So you could potentially like go in that direction if you want to, or you could go with the standard babyface affair, where it's just like, icon versus icon, if you want to build it as that. But a lot of people were like saying it's a passing of the torch moment, but it's like, I wouldn't say passing of the torch. It's more of like establishing like who is the now in WWE. And I feel like if you give Cena the championship too soon, whether it's Mania or somewhere else, then you just already told number 17 when, if you want to keep him babyface, you got to kind of get that struggle in there, where it's just kind of like it's the journey, not the destination. Because if you're already at the destination and it's already a short trip, what else do you have to do? Like, he's going to defend the title. We know he's going to be gone at the end of the year anyway. There's no real drama involved. And I feel like the drama is telling those stories of him finally getting those singles wins, with him finally being locked in. And then it's almost like a race against time, saying, look, this is my last year. If I can't win the championship of the last year, then I know it's my time to go.
Interesting. All right, yeah, I didn't consider him as a heel. I think that would be kind of interesting a way, right? He's something he hasn't done since 2003. Pretty much, right?
It's a very big outside the box. I don't think people are going to boo Cena because it's
I was going to say that as well.
It's his retirement. But at the same time, with the final boss rock, he's still a heel on television, but he's still probably the most popular that he's ever been in the last couple of years of being on WWE television. He's brought something different to the table. And if there's anything that I feel like John Cena, the character, has been within that period of time that he was on top, whether it's like not his fault of his own, it's just he's been having a very safe portrayal. And if you want to think about it, this is the first time that John Cena's portrayal is in the hands of a different booker, so to speak. Because before it was all Vince. Now it's all Triple H. And the thing is, I think this is Triple H's real big test when it comes to retirements, because we had a great one last year with Sting and AEW, and I think that kind of set the standards.
Cena's such a big star, no offense to Sting, right?
No, he's a bigger star. So, and this is going to be a year-long story. So it's going to be interesting to see how Triple H, one, can handle that. Two, when you have the structure changes of not only Raw going to Netflix, but both Raw and SmackDown going to 3 hours, that's a lot of content. And it's just like, it's going to be interesting to see how he balances all of that with the John Cena being such a big storyline with the current stars that we already have, to see if anything is going to overshadow John Cena's retirement story, or vice versa, or John Cena's like so big a name that it's just going to be the year of Cena.
Yeah. I don't want to look too far down the road real quick, but yeah, they could present the whole PLE towards John Cena in Boston at the end of the year, and it'd be a whole thing, right? So from Boston myself, I'd absolutely be there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so Mania. No Rock. The rumor is,
allegedly.
Allegedly no Rock, right? Let's go hypothetically here.
Yeah.
No Rock rumor, right? Cena, night 1 or 2 with Cody. What's bigger? It's Roman versus Punk on the other side. Those are your 2 main events. What's bigger for night 2?
What's bigger for night 2? The thing is, if it was like going to be one and done for Cena, I would say Cena would be like night 2 easy. But now it's like it's a little bit more tough. Yeah. But at the same time, like as crazy as it is to say, Cena's going to be a more consistent fixture compared to Roman for next year, I would think.
Yeah.
So Cena is your one main storyline that you're going through. So I would think night 2 WrestleMania, main event, you could build it as Cena's last stand, Cena's last main event at WrestleMania. And I feel like that in of itself, whether you want to put it night 1 or night 2, I think people would prefer it to be on night 2. I think with Roman and Punk, like Roman has had like 9 or 10 main events at Mania. Yeah, like 8.
So actually 9, because he tied Hulk Hogan night 1 of last year, and then night 2 of last year became number 9. So he now owns the record.
Right. Yeah. And if people are saying, "Oh, CM Punk didn't get his actual main event, it's only night 1," I'm like, yeah, it still look. It still counts. You know what I mean? If they're counting like those towards Roman's like main event record, with the tag match, it's like night 1 and night 2 are going to be the same deal.
Because on paper, I would see those two as kind of equal matches. Now, the Cody build intrigues me because I think we'll eventually get it if it's not WrestleMania. He's teased that in the 2023, kind of passing the torch to him. Now, from a babyface versus babyface aspect, that'd be extremely compelling. I feel that Cody would be a little bit vulnerable to some boos there, so I don't know if they would want to do that to him, especially. It depends if his reign is coming towards an end for them and what he is doing post reign. So I like that would have to do a lot of factors with that, of course.
Well,
but I think it would be very interesting from eras meeting from a babyface standpoint at that level. It would do a lot for Cody.
The one thing that kind of like gives Cody a little bit of cushion is that hypothetically, let's say Cody beats Cena at WrestleMania, it's not the end of Cena's run for the year. You know, if Cody was the one to finally defeat Cena at the end of the year, I think he would get a little bit more of a negative reaction because, you know, that was Cena's last match. We're not going to see him ever again. But I think with Cody, what's interesting to me is that every year since he's come back from WWE, it's always they're going to boo Cody any day now, any day now, any day now. And it still hasn't happened to a large margin or a large degree.
Extremely over.
Yeah, he's extremely just being in the building for Saturday night's main event. He was the most over one by far. You know what I mean? And it's just like you had the people like chant one more time after he got the package pile driver. Yeah. But it's just like even his intro, his entrance, like again, people are invested in Cody. Like they haven't been invested in a babyface like this since probably like you could throw in Roman, you could throw in Cena, but like those are the two names that come to mind when it's like I think of people with that type of reaction. Yeah. And with Cody, I think with John, it's kind of funny with John because we've seen like John the promo side where he won't give you anything if he doesn't feel like
stick with no substance.
Yeah. Like look what happened to Theory, look what happened to Roman in 2017. Like those clips are still circulating night and day. The difference now is Cody is a more complete performer,
and they could play into that too. By the way,
yeah, and they could play into that as well. And I think with Cody, this would be probably his biggest test. I feel like, you know, being the champion, being the final WrestleMania opponent for Cena. And I think it's a believable enough match where people are going to be invested in it one way or another. And I love that we're in this kind of like paradox where there's a time and place where everybody wanted Cena out of the WrestleMania main event. We didn't want him in a title picture. Yeah. But now it seems like the majority are clamoring for him to be in that championship picture. And it's going to create a very interesting dynamic. And I think this is probably the match, aside from the Roman Punk match, that's going to create the most noise, depending on what story they want to take it with.
True. That's hypothetically, too, because we could totally be working 1,000 people, and it could be Gunther, Punk, and Roman, Rock, Cody, Roman, Jacob, and fucking whoever for Cena, right?
Yeah, right.
All right, I have a little wish list. I don't want to say a wish list, but like there's 3 heels that I think that would be fun PLE or big Raw or SmackDown matches for Roman. Excuse me, for Cena. First being KO. Been there, done that, but I think it would be a nice thing for KO to do. Drew, I think he's earned it, and I think the contracts would be fantastic between Cena and Drew. And I actually kind of want to see Logan Paul just from the optics of it. Like, what would athletic, mainstream seeking Logan Paul do in a match with John Cena, and what could John Cena do? Like, it'd be very similar to the Roman match, I think, but could John like get there? I think Logan Paul early would be really smart to be a foil for John Cena, right? One, it alludes to the star power that he can kind of just take care of athletically, like the Kevin Nash thing. He can make a lot of movement around Cena as he kind of gets back into ring shape, and then I don't think it's a mess. I think it would be a fantastic match. Right. So I think that's Elimination Chamber for whatever reason. And I wouldn't be surprised if Logan Paul is in the Theory spot tomorrow, but we don't get the match where Logan Paul is the one to kind of interrupt John Cena right away. And then it kind of builds towards the first few months of John Cena's return here. Even though I think he's going to win I think he's in the top 3 to win the Rumble, right? And he should be, right? I don't know if he's 1, 2, or 3, but he should be in the discussion to win the Rumble. It kind of just depends where they have with this meeting coming up when The Rock gives them their answer and they can kind of shake everything out.
Right.
So what would your wish list be? Any names to add there? And finally, no rumors, no nothing. What's your SummerSlam? What's your WrestleMania? What's your SummerSlam? And what's your final match for John Cena? Loaded question.
Let's see. WrestleMania. I think Cody's probably the direction, and I think it's like it's a good direction to take it, just because it's like, like if you want to call it passing the torch, or you want to be like the old guard versus new guard or newish guard. Like I think Cody is the representation of like what Cena was back then, and this is coming from somebody who's watched Cena's career from like the ground up. I feel like that'd be the Mania match. For SummerSlam, I feel like it's gonna be like a throwback kind of an opponent,
Like an
like
Orton,
like a Randy, like a Punk, like one of the past not like rivals of John Cena. I wasn't like a big fan of
Seth, maybe, right?
I mean, maybe depending on the story. I think a Drew would also be a good answer too.
Yeah.
Just because Drew, I feel like, one, like you said, he's earned it, and two, I really do think that they could create a lot of great, like, not just promo work, but in-ring work too. Braun Breaker is another one, like just as a match in general. I feel like Braun Breaker would be a very good opponent. For his final match, it's really tough,
I think the safe guess would be Orton.
Safe guess would be Orton.
I don't know.
Also, fun fact, since we're talking about Boston, Cena's never had a one-on-one match with Kofi Kingston. I feel like that has to be like one of those innocuous like things that we got to check off.
I wouldn't mind that on a Raw PLE. I mean, excuse me, on a Raw, right?
Like a Raw or SmackDown, depending on
Saturday night's main event. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a fun match. I feel like the final like opponent, like for me, it's like my like the young fan answer in me. I want Ray to almost get his revenge, because remember that Raw when Ray won the title and then Cena like immediately won it in 2 hours.
Yeah, I can go without a doubt and say probably not going to happen, Richie. But
yeah,
that's quite the callback to get revenge from August 2011 Raw.
Yeah, it's very like out there, but it's like I would like that, but it's not going to happen. But for Cena, it really has to be like somebody or someone that it can like feasibly weave in together. And the thing is, Orton is the safe answer, but I'm not sure if it's the right answer. And
Gunther work?
Gunther should
get a match with John Cena.
Like Gunther should get a match with John Cena. I don't think the last one should be like for Gunther.
Will he go out in his back, or will he go out like winning the title and retiring? Like, and then there's the Royal Rumble is for the belt in Saudi. Like, is there something like that?
I mean, you could do Seth. You could do Seth. I feel like Seth would be another good choice. I think Roman would also be another choice that you could do. Because with Roman and Cena, they haven't had, I don't want to say like bad matches. I just think it was like they thought a little bit too much on what the people wanted, if that makes sense.
They did a good job getting into third or fourth gear. They just never got to that fifth gear together.
Yeah, like it's like the No Mercy match. It was fun for what it was. I just think they kind of overplayed their hand a little bit. Yeah. And then their SummerSlam match, I think it was still kind of that dynamic that was just like, again, like it's a different dynamic for Roman and Cena to be in, so it didn't quite hit. Also, another thing I want them to, again, I'm all about callbacks if you haven't known me long enough, Ryan. Remember when like during that match, like Cena like signed the contract when Finn was supposed to get that title match?
Yes.
I'm just like, give like at least give Finn a little bit of something. So give Finn a little bit.
We've been playing rumors all night here. Finn's rumored to have a big 2023. So yeah.
Well, 2025, 2023 is long and gone. But
fill in the blank, guys. My bad.
yeah, I got you. But it's like I could see Finn being an opponent too. But for the last one's always tough because very it's tough. Like you're in Boston. I feel like if you want, because it's like you have the holiday tour anyway. Yeah. So that comes up. So it's like
you always have easily booked around there for sure.
Yeah, like you could even have like a PLE, like again, like the time is now, PLE.
Rock
And
Bottom, DX, yeah.
like another like good fun callback is like you had Cena and Punk in Chicago. Now you have Cena and Punk in Boston.
Yeah,
Like they did that for Night of Champions 2012,
I
which
like that.
I
Yep.
really enjoyed that match. But I feel like you have Punk, whether he's a heel or a babyface by that point. The Yankee pinstripes. You have
Mhm.
Cena in like the Red Sox kind of like tribute gear or whatever. I mean, he's wearing the red shirt anyway, so. And that's the main reason we're having this retirement tour. We're gonna have different shirts for every town that Cena's gonna go into, and it's
Merch
gonna
out of the ass coming
yeah,
up
and,
for
and
sure.
and just going by like based on what I saw in Saturday night's main event, I couldn't even get a Cody shirt in my size because that's how popular Cody was for the exclusive
Well,
like
you could have
Saturday
done
night's
any
main event
size
thing.
and cut the sleeves off because that's how you
Well,
roll.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna do at the end. It's just a large, It's like
Yeah.
usually I'm a medium, but now I'm a large, apparently. But yeah,
Me too,
I feel
buddy.
like if you were to ask me in the most long-winded way possible, I think Punk would probably be a fun last opponent because Punk's already doing like Cena stuff during house shows anyway.
Yeah, really
So
cool.
I feel like it's like I don't want to say it's like an Easter egg kind of deal, but I feel like other than Edge or maybe Randy, like I feel like Punk is the one that really turned the corner on people's perception of John because John started experimenting with different moves when
Yep.
CM Punk was in there, and I feel like a lot of like CM Punk inspired John to like do more. Like what we saw like after the CM Punk feud, you saw him do like more like variety of moves, so he wasn't just the 5 moves of doom kind of guy. And that's what I feel like that should probably be the most perfect match because it's like you have Punk and you have Cena, like two guys who are still kind of like at the tail end of their career, with Cena being of the finality. I feel like Punk doing the favors for Cena, when Cena is seemingly the one guy that Punk always seemed to get the better of, other than like their last meeting. I think that would probably be like my finality. Like if Punk is the last opponent.
I don't know what mine would be. I thought all the options, kind of besides Rey Mysterio, you said are pretty intriguing, even though you were kind of just joking on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it's going to be massive. It should be in Boston, even though we're putting like pie in the sky, booking shit like out of nothing there.
Mhm.
But I'm looking forward to the run. But I
Yeah.
think that they have a really good opportunity of setting the tone for what John Cena can be for 2023, not what he's been the last 5 or 6 years
Right.
on Raw on Netflix. All right,
Mhm.
you kind of alluded to my final question. I just want a name: CM Punk, Edge, or Randy Orton. His best opponent, his best rival.
Punk.
You have agreements for me. I was ready to
Yeah.
fight it.
No, no.
I
No,
think Punk, Edge, then Orton.
I would agree with that because with Randy, with Randy, I only liked I think like 2 or 3 of their entire
Yeah,
series
it's
like
always been
matches.
disappointing. To be
Because
true.
it's like I don't want to say like this is the bad thing when it comes to Cena and Orton matches, but they played it very safe.
Yeah,
They really did they did what they were best at, and they didn't really deviate from the formula. Probably because it's like they both came up the same way, OVW, that training that training school, in general, where it's just like, all right, this is the Vince McMahon era. We're gonna base it around these two guys, and it was like Cena, Orton, and maybe Batista here and there,
no
without
doubt.
anything with Edge. That was the first time where it's like, all right, like Cena's the guy. We kind of want Edge to kind of be the guy, but he's like Edge is in this like he was in the position that Seth Rollins is in right now currently,
Yeah,
where he's the guy that works with the
the
guy.
gatekeeper. Yeah,
Yeah, where it's just like he'll be the number one heel, but he's not going to be the one you focus the television show around.
no,
Where he's there to make the other guy look good.
no doubt.
And with Edge and Cena's matches, they did like a lot of variety of matches, which were like very good to great to even amazing. The TLC, the Last Man
Yeah,
Standing match. I'm surprised they didn't have a one-on-one at Mania.
yeah, the 25 match with the Big Show, which is a
Yeah.
little bit random, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. But I will say, Richie,
Mhm.
I didn't expect to go 25 minutes on John Cena, but I think that's a testament to what this year can be.
It's an endless round of possibilities, and that I think is the most exciting portion of it. Because if you think about it, this is probably the most stacked the roster has been, or at
It's
least for
loaded.
the WWE, in I don't know how long, in a combination of stars that they brought in, stars that they created, and now
Rising stars.
like
Yeah.
rising stars as well. So there's like endless possibilities. Cena said himself, like they've agreed on like 35 to 40 dates, like different dates. I wouldn't be surprised if that number grows exponentially,
If
and
his
like,
calendar's clear. Yeah.
yeah, if he says his calendar is clear, it's like he's dedicated to this. There's rumors that he even got his old haircut back, so I'm sure a lot of fans are going to be very happy with it. But again, it's just like it's just like you said, a testament to John Cena and his like just not only legacy, but like the possibilities, like old, new, and current, that we could see in this final run. And I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. I'm not sure if people are setting their expectations high, because a lot of people being like, he has to win number 17. He has to win the IC to be the Grand Slam champion, But at the same, but it's all about John Cena giving his farewell, and it's going to be a highlight of not only Cena but the people that he works against.
No doubt. All right, Richie. I'm looking forward to it. This is probably one of the most anticipating things out of probably right under Punk and Rollins for me on Netflix, just because what is it and what can they quickly do to rehab him, even though he doesn't need her rehabilitation, but they should, right? And I think they'll play into the story. So, Richie, we have a classic Raw/USA commercial coming up for a break in between. So, Richie, we'll see you on the next one, buddy. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for having me.
USA. You are here on USA. A woman reserves the right to change her clothes, to change her hair, to change her ammunition. But can anyone make her change her mind? Change her mind. The special 2-hour season premiere, La Femme Nikita, continues next on USA.
Steve Riddle, quite the throwback there with La Femme Nikita. Remember that commercial from Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, definitely. That's a throwback. I mean, I think about like that, silk stockings, and Pacific Blue were the big ones of the late 90s. So shows you how long I've been watching this show.
Well, that's what I'm doing here. I'm having little commercials that are kind of infamous with Monday Night Raw that you would think of and only think of Monday Night Raw, because it's an end of an era and we're starting a new era here, Riddle. Monday Night Raw debuting on Netflix. What match did you pick to go over here tonight?
Well, it's fitting that you bring up La Femme Nikita, because it's all about a badass woman. Because the match I picked is
synergy.
You're right. That features two badass women, and that's the women's world title match between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, this is last women standing, is it, or is that official? Because they kind of hinted it, but I don't know if they pulled it away.
It sounds like they pulled it away, which it's kind of weird. Yeah, it started as a regular match, then they threw the stip out, and then now they pulled it back. So I don't know, but yeah, it looks like it's just going to be a standard match.
Well, when I heard the last woman standing, I was like, it deserves that stipulation, because we are here and it should be over, because I am done with this feud, Riddle. I hate to say it. I think Liv has done an adequate job of being champion. Her character is much more interested than her matches. They're both a little bit long in the tooth for me. I'm really curious what she looks like coming out of this feud. But Rhea's was champion for a year, got hurt with the shoulder, and then it's pretty much been Liv Morgan time ever since. What's your overall feeling on Liv Morgan at the whole tail end of 2024? And do you think her run has been a success for her and the women's division?
I definitely think so. I think this reign here has definitely been better than her SmackDown Women's Title reign back in 2022.
Yep.
Granted, she's had dealing with a checked out Ronda Rousey is a lot different than dealing with with one of the hottest women in the company in Ripley, and it's been a like you said, they've been at this since really the night after WrestleMania last year, when Liv attacked Rhea backstage and caused her to go to the sidelines and she had to relinquish the title. And then since Liv has won the title, she's been on a really good run, and turning heel, hooking him with Dominic, taking him away from Rhea, kicking her out of the Judgment Day. But I agree with you. I think we've seen they've been adding different layers to it to kind of keep it fresh. Like her turning heel bringing in having Raquel back as her bodyguard in essence, going to the War Games. But I agree with you. I think at this point, this has to be the end of the feud, regardless of who wins or loses, because I think both women do need to move on to different things.
For what she was and what she is, they've done a good job. They've thrown a lot at her, just like you said, right? And she is definitely a star. She did really good on the Netflix Christmas Day pregame show to the Steelers with was it the Houston and Ravens, wherever game she was at. She did a really good job of representing herself as a WWE star. She looked big, felt big, and really kind of crushed that little segment. So she did a good job in that spot. On TV, I think she's done an adequate job. She's still growing, but I think her growth is going to come post this, because what is she post title reign? Because I think she's a little bit boxed right now with Rhea hovering over her. The Dom thing is what it is. The Raquel thing is what it is, and it all helps her. But I think her ceiling has been maxed, as Liv Morgan is right now. Come on, if we were for real, if we said Liv Morgan in 2019 would reach this height in 5 years, I wouldn't have believed it, right? But they've done a really good job with her for what she is, and she's the one of the proud, like maximizing their ceiling PC under like projects, so to speak, right? So it's just at the point where I'm over it and done it. I'm curious what Rhea does out of this. She stays full blown babyface, I assume, right?
I would think so. I mean, I think it just depends now on, because she's established herself really as such a main event player that it's like, if she's not in the title picture, where does she go from here? Does she move down to the IC title picture?
No.
I mean, yeah,
She feels bigger than the title, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, does she become? I mean, I don't want to say like an attraction, but she's, where does she go? Do they maybe move her over to SmackDown, freshen her up over there with some of those feuds?
No idea, buddy. Yeah. It's interesting, though. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I think wherever Liv goes, Rhea needs to go the opposite way. I would say, man, Io Sky would be super compelling, but they would have to do a lot to get Io Sky ready for that spot. They had great chemistry in NXT, and even lately, them teasing it felt kind of big. Do you think that's a good spot?
I think so. I mean, we did see Io did face Liv at the last Saturday night's main event and lost clean in essence. So
clean as a whistle.
They do have to build her up. And when you look at the rest of the Raw women's roster, it's kind of they're kind of lacking in terms of like top level women. Hence why you hear the rumors about Becky Lynch possibly coming back. Are we going to see her on that Raw? Is it potentially
Is it this spot in this? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, do we see Charlotte finally make her return? I mean, we haven't seen her in forever, so it's definitely an interesting path we're going to see to where we go to forward here on Raw, and especially going now into WrestleMania.
Yeah, with the transfer portal, there are two big fresh WrestleMania matches, assuming Rhea Ripley wins, for her to defend her women's title against at WrestleMania. I wonder which one more is intriguing to you. So with the portal being like open, all brands are kind of wide open. Bianca Belair or Io Sky or Roxanne Perez.
That's interesting. I definitely think Bianca's more. I think it's probably the one everybody really wants to see because we haven't seen it.
Yeah,
since they were both in NXT. Because when we last saw them, when they fought at Takeover Portland in 2020, they were still both on the rise, and now here we are 5 years later, and they're both like at the top of their game, and it will definitely feel a lot bigger. And I think it said Io definitely needs, I think, a little bit more rebuilding before we get to that. And Roxanne's an interesting one if they decide to, go with her. If they have her lose the title to Julia at New Year's Evil, or if they let her roll a little bit longer, possibly towards Stand and Deliver, and then have her move up. So, I mean, there's a lot of interesting options.
Julia would be massive too. I don't know if they kind of was like, all right, go to NXT, do your thing. And then Stephanie Vaquer is the one to make. and she's in NXT to kind of just make sure that she looks at the cameras right and all that thing. And then she's inserted on Netflix, and she would feel probably bigger than EO, right? But I feel like she needs a little bit more, maybe a little bit more WWE time to kind of get the casual fan more used to her, right?
Yeah, and you also have Zarya too.
Yep. Yeah, she feels more like Raquel, though. She doesn't feel like she needs more work, but I could definitely see her being there one day. I feel like that she's not like ready for that spot. All right, are we on the same kind of sentiment that Rhea Ripley should be the women's champion coming out of this match?
Again, that's do they want Rhea to go? I think it depends on who they rather think. What they think the bigger match of WrestleMania is. Like, do they think Rhea and somebody Rhea's champion and somebody would be, or do they maybe want to reward Liv for how hard she's worked over this last year and give her a big spot at WrestleMania as the champion?
And so Rhea would have to have an attraction match, or Rhea would maybe. I don't see that scenario where Rhea would go face Tiffany Stratton, who is the new SmackDown champion, right, or the World Women's Champion on SmackDown. I don't see that. I feel like Raw, Netflix, Rhea is your face. And if she's not chasing that title, what is she? I don't know.
Yeah, I get. Well, again, I also think it probably leans to where if, in fact, Becky is going to come back and maybe they have Liv retain over Rhea and then Becky comes out and then you set her Liv up for WrestleMania. So they have a lot. I think they do have some good options. So, where they can go either way. And I think the path isn't particularly clear for either woman at this point.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm like 90% that Rhea Ripley wins. Where would you say you are? Because you feel like you're wavering a little bit and closer to Liv than I am, for sure. I'd be surprised if Rhea didn't win.
Right. I'm probably more like 65-35 Rhea.
And that's good for the match, too, right? That would add suspense.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because if you think about it, since Liv became champion, Rhea's not, besides War Games, Rhea's not gotten a clean win over her. Because Liv beat her at SummerSlam thanks to Dom, and then Rhea won by DQ at, what was it? Which one was it? Was it Bad Blood where Raquel came out? Or was it?
So.
Yeah, so Rhea still needs to get that pin on her to,
Yeah, and it makes sense to do the last woman standing. Makes sense to do the last woman standing because they had Rhea destroy Raquel in December in a last woman standing. So it'd be like, this is my match, right? So it's time for me to take my throne in my match. No more bullshit, and let's get it. That's kind of how I assume things are going to go, but we'll see, Steve. All right, I'll be shocked, Steve. It was fun to have you on here and kind of take a look at this Raw Netflix, and we'll see you on the next one, buddy. Another USA commercial coming up here, guys. But Riddle, thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, he's dead.
Well, that's a lose-lose.
It's the most startling episode of Psych ever.
I'm really quite shocked.
You are?
It just doesn't show on my face because of years of Botox.
Christine Baranski guest stars on an all-new Psych tomorrow at 10, only on USA. Characters welcome. Presented by YoPlay.
All right, guys, we are here with my son, Landan Gray. Landan, what's going on, buddy?
What's up? Hyped to be on.
All right, good. So that is a Psyched commercial, 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12-ish. You were about 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember anything on that?
Never seen that before.
It wasn't that good. I don't think I've watched a full episode. It used to air after Raw all the time, so that's why I threw it up there. It kind of fit the theme of the other commercials in between. So, all right, Landan, you got 2 matches left here to pick. Which one you want to pick?
Tribal Combat, Roman, and Solo.
All right, it's funny because you were at the first Tribal Combat with Roman versus Jey Uso in SummerSlam in Detroit. How do you think that was, and how do you think this will compare?
That was underwhelming. That wasn't as exciting as I wish it was. They kind of hyped it out that no one was going to get involved, and then everyone was involved. So in every Tribal Combat match now, someone comes back, someone debuts, someone's getting involved, and it means a lot. So I could see Rock or someone like that coming in. But
all right, so Tribal Combat is within family members, and Bloodline Rules is Tribal Combat, but not within family members. So it's if we were to have a Tribal Combat, it would be settling gray rules, right? And I would probably win. If I were to have if I were to have like a street fight on gray territory, we would call it like gray rules, right? Where I would go fight someone not in a part of the family. So that's where tribal combat versus bloodline rules. It's the same match, but that's why the wording is a little different.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
things happen every this match.
For sure. And funny, what I think caused the SummerSlam 2023 match to be a little underwhelming is that's the first time Uso had that big entrance with the yeeting and everything, which was fucking awesome. But I think it blew out the crowd, and then they kind of just fell asleep in the terrible ending. And
Yeah.
I think we're set up for success here because I believe this is opening Monday Night Raw. This or Cena is my guess. I feel that Roman either opens or closes the show, and Punk and Rollins are closing. So I feel like this will open the Netflix debut. So I think they're going to want to go out there and have a quote unquote banger. So I trust it this time. All right. Now, speaking of Netflix, Landon, put yourself in college student or people your age's shoes for a little while, right? Would Raw on Netflix make it a lot easier for someone to watch Monday Night Raw live?
100%. I mean, I probably speak for about 95% of college students, but when I'm done with homework, I open my computer or keep going to Netflix, and I'm trying to find something to watch. And I feel like a lot of college students have also probably watched this growing up. Like, they're going to see WWE, and they're going to click on it. It's going to attract a lot of new viewers, a lot of old viewers that haven't watched it in a while, and it's just a lot more accessible for students to watch it.
That's funny because that happened with Peacock. It became more accessible when Peacock became a thing. People are like, oh, I can watch a fucking PLE for fucking $10. I don't have the WWE Network, but I have Peacock because of The Office, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what's this thing? Here's COVID, so on and so forth. So it kind of worked out perfect for Peacock to expand the WWE audience. And then even with Fox in 2019, it expanded and blew it up a little bit too. So I think Netflix has the potential to do that on an even grander stage because Netflix is the biggest, most common, popular
10 times bigger
service.
than all of those. Yeah,
exactly.
Streaming. Yeah.
So all right, so everyone your age has Netflix, and it's their go-to app for streaming, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
All right, and you feel that people your age watched WWE in the past, and now that it's at their fingertips or in their forefront, right in front of them, that they're more likely to
check it out, see what's happening. I feel like it's 100%.
They're doing a good job hyping it too. Remember, we were watching Netflix for football on Christmas, and then we had Liv Morgan, we had CM Punk, we had constant commercials with it. They have a lot of mainstream guys.
Yeah,
Cena's coming back. Yeah.
I'll go through TikTok, and then it's like the WWE superstars doing the ta-dum, like trying to, and like Netflix like is posting it, and like they're doing a good job advertising it and stuff.
All right, no shit.
Like it's on all apps, TikTok, all that stuff.
All right, so it has a chance to kind of blow up even bigger than not, because according to Triple H, if you're living under a rock, then you got to know that WWE is hot. So it is pretty hot though. It's booming. Things are interesting. They're doing a really good job. They're gaining a lot. So I think it's only going to continue, which is cool because you watched WB your whole life because I'm your father and you became addicted, right? So it was inevitable and it happened. And we watched some kind of bullshit back in the day. We watched some good shit, of course, but you know, in your middle school days were some pretty mediocre stuff, right? You've fallen in, you've fallen out, you know, you and your brother. So, you know, it's a part of your DNA, but it's not a part of your everyday life.
Yeah.
But you've kept up with the bloodline stuff as a whole because it's the most intriguing stuff they've done the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That and what? So the bloodlines is pretty important nowadays. What else is kind of garnering your overall interest that you kind of has to see what's going on with everything?
CM Punk. I mean, he's back, and I feel like every time he's on TV, eyes are glued. I feel like he's a great promo the past week. Like, CM Punk is the guy right now that I feel like everybody knows and everyone's going to gravitate to. Also, John Cena, of course, but going back to the college student part, like CM Punk, everyone knows CM Punk.
Okay, so he's popular with the college kids on the wrestling team and whatnot.
Yeah.
All right, and what about Logan Paul? Does he have any juice, or is he just kind of?
I mean, yeah. I feel like people really have to see him wrestle. Like, I thought he was a joke coming in. Now I've seen him wrestle, and he's legit. Knows what he's doing.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. All right, so let's talk about the match. Tribal Combat. I feel like everything with Netflix being involved. I feel with the presentation of this being the first match on Netflix and kind of being a blow off and propelling Roman Reigns into WrestleMania season in something else, that this has to be good and probably will be good. I would trust it. Even though the Bloodline has been great throughout, I still think it's great, but I feel like if you mix in Solo as like a lead in a Bloodline segment, it kind of struggles a little bit up to the bar that it is. Now, the second being, there was a little low-key storyline thing that is intriguing. Last night on SmackDown, Paul Heyman did the final hype for this match, and Solo Sikoa came out and was kind of stoic and really acted like he was Roman a little bit, had Paul show him the mic, had Paul like, I don't know. It was a pretty good presentation of Solo Sikoa, and Heyman revealed via Solo that Solo will acknowledge Roman if he beats him, but if Solo wins, then Paul Heyman will give the Ulafala to the winner and present the winner with the Ulafala. So Paul Heyman will be at ringside to present the winner with the Ulafala. Now, will Paul Heyman be involved in the finish either way?
Yeah. I think Paul Heyman is involved in this finish.
Okay, now is it for Roman Reigns or for Solo Sikoa?
I don't know. That one's tough. I feel like it's really both ways. I could see some crazy backstab, maybe. I mean, as we know, Paul Heyman hates Solo, but I don't know, maybe CM Punk cashed in his favor. Like, you got to keep that in mind with whatever that is.
In this match, though? Interesting.
No,
That's tough.
Yeah.
What about CM Punk? I don't really see him yet. He's going to be in the main event. I don't think he's ready to jump in on that part of it yet. But what about The Rock?
Yeah, Rock. I see Rock.
Netflix, I would say it's 50-50 that he's going to be there.
And it's Tribal Combat.
Probably 75-25 that he's going to be there in some sort.
It's Tribal Combat. Someone's getting involved too.
Now, what's the chance that Solo has been working for The Rock the whole time?
Oh, very high.
Now, you ready for outside the box? Like, ta-da. Oh, shit, that makes sense now. I don't think Solo Sikoa is working for The Rock. I think Solo Sikoa is going to be a sacrificial lamb. And when we look at the history of the Bloodline, this was kind of like a down period where they didn't really have anything, so they did the Solo thing. What if Drew McIntyre is the one working for The Rock? And we get have you ever heard of the corporate Rock?
Yeah.
So we get the final boss Rock, but I think we kind of eventually get the corporate Rock. And the corporate Rock, he just bought all these TK shareholders, 65,000 TK shareholders he just bought. I think that he's a part of the board. I personally think that we're going to get corporate Rock mixed with the final boss Rock. And the Rock is going to go outside the family for people to do his bidding. And when Drew McIntyre resigned, remember he had that dinner and the Rock sent him a gift, or the Rock sent him a card or something, where when Drew McIntyre resigned, the Rock gave him a gesture, and it perhaps was a part of the, I don't know, let's put it this way, a part of the negotiation to get Drew McIntyre to resign in real life with the WWE. So I feel that The Rock and Drew McIntyre because when Drew returned around Saturday night's main event,
Yeah.
he said he's coming for the Bloodline and to take the Bloodline down. I think the next part of the Bloodline saga may be The Rock with the corporation versus the Bloodline eventually. And that will ultimately lead to Roman versus The Rock. And I think that Roman is kind of low-key going to skate by here and catch Solo. They'll try to protect Solo to an extent and make it work. I think the match will be really good. But I think ultimately Solo Sikoa is the sacrificial lamb to Roman Reigns here. And and we don't eventually get the Rock Corporation with Drew, but I think down the line we will.
I see. I mean, Drew was a little weird with Cody last night too. On
Yeah,
SmackDown. I mean, we know that at one point it's gonna be Cody Rock too after that weird
the Rock sent him to
WrestleMania.
fuck with him mentally.
Yeah, I mean, that was a weird promo too. So I could see that actually happening.
Yeah, pretty cool idea in my opinion.
Yeah, that is a cool.
So
it's different too. It's not something everyone's like thinking about.
yeah, and it's playing into the past, like the corporation. That was the one that propelled the Rock to stardom, right? The Nation of Domination gave him his aura, kind of, right? Gave him some stability, but the corporation's the one that solidified him as a main eventer. So I don't know. Chosen one. Both, I see some similarities there with the Drew and the Rock. Outside the box, I think you can see some breadcrumbs when it finally gets there. And I don't think it's going to get there, but I think Drew's going to get involved. I think the Rock comes out after. I don't think he gets, or he's not.
I don't think he gets involved mid-match, no.
Or he doesn't get involved in this match and he's a part of Netflix after. But Drew comes along and maybe screws Solo out of the Ulafala because Solo screwed him out of the title back in the day. He already took care of Sammy. He's starting to take care of the Usos. He's going to take care of Jey Uso that night. So I don't know. But then again, I wouldn't be shocked if Drew didn't show up because he has a match that night and he eventually, I don't know. There's just so much shit that can go on here.
Yeah.
You can go down so many different.
It's so hard to predict. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
no
one lane.
It's fun. It's a lot of options. All right. The rumor right now, it could be a loose rumor because The Rock is either wrestling in Vegas or not wrestling in Vegas at WrestleMania 41. Cody versus Cena and Roman versus Punk. Regardless of The Rock, I feel like Roman versus Punk is a match that we'll get.
I agree. I think at the end of the day, that's the deal that Roman or Paul Heyman made, is that he gets main event at Mania, and it's going to be Roman's the biggest star. Roman's main event in the past, like 7 WrestleManias.
Nine total, which is nuts.
That's insane. Like, he knows Roman's the guy to main event WrestleMania against. So, I mean, I think that could definitely be one of something that the deal was with Paul Heyman.
All right. So in the college world, say we get Paul CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. Who's the cooler one?
Who's the cooler one?
The people your age.
I feel like if you're watching right now, it's Roman. If you're not watching, you just join in. It's CM Punk. I acknowledge my tribal chief, but
oh really? Because I'm best in the world for life. But I acknowledge my tribal chief as well. So, all right, who's winning, Roman or Solo?
I got Roman.
Yeah, I feel that it should be, and it would be something dastardly to kind of.
Yeah, there would be some weird string pull for Solo to win.
I don't want Paul Heyman to screw Roman Reigns.
I don't either. I love Paul Heyman right now. I would hate him.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit. Like, Solo's been there, done that. We'll see what he does next after this. I think he's going to be in better footing than we would think. But
what do you think he does if he doesn't win? Then what do the Tongas do? What does Jacob Fatu do?
Well, half the bloodline's now hurt, right?
Well,
so I feel like maybe Fatu. I love you, Solo, which is phenomenal, which is so stupid, right? But he's so good at it.
But it's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel that perhaps we get Fatu trying to take over.
Yeah, we get a third kind of bloodline. Don't they have that other guy, that Hikalea guy or whatever, signed?
Yeah, well, I think Solo eventually aligns with the Usos, Sammy, and Roman again eventually. But
yeah,
and then the bloodline 3.0 kind of goes off and do their own thing, and eventually I would put them on SmackDown and build them back up, and then eventually they can come back to Roman and see where they land there, right? Yeah. But unsettled business, because actually little known thing is behind the scenes at WrestleMania 40, Roman was saying that he wants to do Jacob well, wants to do Jacob right. He wants to have Jacob come in and make sure he has success so I think that's meaningful to Roman because dude, Fatu's a stud.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's so good.
Yeah. So can you imagine Fatu? I know you don't play football anymore, but Fatu as middle linebacker. Come on, what are we
That's
doing?
scary. He's a freak athlete.
What are we doing? That would be nuts. So, all right, Landon.
Who's winning? Who's winning Oklahoma drill? Braun Breaker with the ball. Fatu at linebacker.
Oh fuck! Leave it in your comments there. Ooh.
Oklahoma drill right here.
Ooh. That's a money match, right? I think that's a money match. Oklahoma drill, Breaker. But see, there's no twitch with them. They're all A gap. Both of them.
Yeah, it's all going. It's going like this. It's just
They're both A gap players. There's no.
It's two trucks going at it. It's who's just winning.
Maybe Breaker one cuts him and gets like a little lean on him where he can leverage over a little bit. I don't think Fatu. I think Fatu's pad levels would be a little bit too high. I'm going to give Breaker by a slight edge, but put that on main event of WrestleMania. I'll watch that for sure. I'll get fired up. I'll blow the whistle for that one. Get me fired up for that one. Excellent. All right. How's the college life treating you?
It's good. It's
awesome.
Good life.
Good life. You loving it?
Yeah, it's fine.
Wrestling men, not wrestling boys in high school anymore. You're wrestling grown-ass men.
Not 15-year-olds, 25-year-olds now. It's awesome.
Yep, you're getting it's the most humbling you've been your whole life.
Definitely. I'm not wrestling some squid anymore. I'm wrestling some dude with a beard and probably like a kid on the way. So
that is life, my friend. I hope you were ready for it.
You
getting there.
So. Yeah, I'm getting there.
All right, buddy. It was
process.
It was good seeing you. You're going home to college tomorrow, and I think me and Mom are still proud of you, but we're not sad to push you back to college a little bit. The house is a little messier with you around.
It's Eli, I swear.
All right, Landon. See you on the next one, buddy.
All right, see ya.
To catch a killer, he'll use instinct.
He used a drawstring to steady his shot.
Insight.
I'm thinking somebody approached the car, started washing the window, and then attacked him.
And a whole lot of Kleenex.
I'm told you're germophobic, afraid of the dark, heights, crowds, and milk. We're working on the milk.
Tony Shalhoub is Monk, brilliant detective.
I don't suppose you're going to be able to prove any of this.
Are you sure?
Major issues. Series premieres July 12th at 9, only on USA.
All right, Chad. Would you have any memories of Monk before we get into the match?
I mean, that thing looked like it was like 30 years old. You know, sometimes if you feel like stuff from the 2000s, you're like, oh, that was a couple years ago, right? At this point, but then you see stuff like that, and it's like,
I think that's 2002. I think.
Yeah, I would guess even a little later.
La Femme Nikita was the first commercial I played, and then I played Psyched. You remember that piece of shit show? 2008, 9, 10-ish, and I think Monk was the precursor to that one. So those are kind of the three synonymous Raw after USA shows. Wanted to play the commercials in between here, but you are here for the last match, right. So you don't get the pick, Chad. You get CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Two of your favorites, huh?
Yeah, two of my absolute favorite guys. So, but no, a really interesting match. I mean, I think of the stuff that's announced for me, it's easily the thing I'm the most interested in. So I'm excited to see the match. It feels like a big match. I mean, it feels like it could be, perhaps like a, second match from the top on like a WrestleMania night 1 or night 2 show. So to get it on this debut, this is a big match. I only have one singles. It's weird. I'd forgotten they actually did have a singles match at the end of 2013. I looked it up on Cage Match. It's one of those things where like I'm sure like in retrospect, like it's a minor thing, but they probably could have not wasted that match in late 2013 on the holiday edition of Raw when Punk was doing nothing. But yeah, here we are.
And what did he face? Roman at like old school Raw or Ambrose at old school? So he's just going through the Shield guys at that point.
Yeah, he's going through the Shield. That was his whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Interesting. Yeah. It's definitely interesting. And it was ignited immensely on Monday night with that go home promo. Absolute home run. One of the best promos on WWE TV in a real long time, in a kind of promo heavy company the last few years, especially with all the stuff they got going on. Rollins easily best promo, hands down.
Yeah, I think it had a couple things going for it. One, it wasn't too long, which some of the tribal chief stuff has been just so long. And I mean, some of the Rock promos last year, I mean, we're talking, 30, 40 minute segments. So yeah, like you can take some of the moments from that, but when you look at it as a whole, it's like these are mammoth promo sessions. This one wasn't too long. I thought too it had inside stuff, but wasn't necessarily like too smart on the inside references. I mean, really, the only thing that I would say would be outside of the WWE universe that they talked about was Colt Cabana's podcast. I mean, so that I thought was good that they at least, if you're like casual, like if my son watched it, he could understand kind of the gist of it and wouldn't be like, what's he talking about? What's going on with that? But to me, the biggest advantage for it is in a lot of these major like back and forth promos, I think Seth ends up looking like a geek. I definitely thought that in the lead up to WrestleMania last year, where he was the fourth and kind of ignored, and they made fun of his outfit, and he was almost like the punchline.
In both matches he was in.
Yeah. And here, I thought they did a good job of him landing shots on Punk and doing it in a way too that felt genuine, which is my biggest issue with Seth Rollins as a performer for years now. Is just it's been that authenticity. I feel like a lot of times he's presenting in his head what he thinks like a great wrestler would wrestle like, or dress like, or act like, or promo like.
Yep.
I don't feel like that's his, that's Kobe Lopez underneath all that. That's actually, presenting that. It's his prism of what he thinks like is a pro wrestling performance. And you didn't get that on Monday. So that was very encouraging. And like I said, I mean, it was obviously a match I had an interest in. I mean, Punk hasn't been on TV since he came back. He hasn't wrestled on TV since he's came back. So that's a rarity. It's his first time on, I don't know, in this Netflix area. You can't really say free TV, but non-PLE TV, I guess, he's wrestling. So that's a rarity in of itself, and I'm really looking forward to it after the promo.
Any chance you could name CM Punk's last television opponent?
I'm sure it was something crazy on like Collision.
No. WWE.
Oh, WWE.
But Collision is actually a hint.
I was going to say, I mean, like, even like with AEW, who knows? It could have been like Action and Andretti or some nonsense.
Collision
WWE.
Hint, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Who is it? Give it to me.
Badass Billy Gunn.
Oh. Oh boy. Oh my god. It could have been his last one on Collision, like you said.
Yeah. Could have been his last one on Collision as well. I think that was the go home for the Rumble in 14. I think he had a badass Billy Gunn match. So
Jesus. Wow. Yeah.
Hell of a end of 2013, start of 2014. We mentioned a Seth, a Roman, and a badass Billy Gunn match for CM Punk on Monday Night Raw. Wow. So he's killing it back in the day. I wonder why he quit. But it's funny that, do you think that it was scripted? I'm curious your thought on this. Do you think it was scripted, or do you think that it was bullet pointed and said by Seth, referring to AEW as the competition without saying AEW is our competition? You left the competition and came back to us when we won, type of thing.
Yeah, I think that was strategic. I mean, I think they obviously like knew the shots they were going to take. I just think it's done in. I mean, Punk, as we know, is kind of the master of that work shooty promo. Like he's the king leader of that style, and doesn't have that problem where he's such a prick that everything feels authentic with him, whether it is or not. I think they were pretty strategic in what they said and how they did it, but they did it in a good fluid way when they actually presented it. So that was good. Because I mean, Seth really could have looked like a geek again. I mean, like I said, he does not have a track record of looking good in these things. So him, I mean, it was really I mean, I expect that kind of from Punk. It's the in-ring stuff from Punk that I'm interested to see, because now like Seth's elevated his promo game, I think, in the build up to this. Now we'll see what Punk can do, because in ring, I think that's where his
where's 43-year-old, 45-year-old Punk gonna look athletically next to 35-year-old, 36-year-old Seth Rollins?
Yeah, and I think the way they word the match is good too, because Punk is good, has always been very good. I mean, the promo exchange on Monday was very personal. So I don't think they can go in there on the match and lock up and do. I hope not.
It's gonna be gloves down, center ice.
Yeah, it needs to be. It needs to have a personal feel, and Punk's really good at that. Yeah. Even within confines of a certain matches, like I think of way back in 2004, like the third Joe versus Punk match on December 4th, like that is a wrestling match, but also has a lot of like personal brawling, blading, stuff like that. So I think Punk does a good job with that in general. And I look forward to that.
I think they go there, honestly. I think it's closing the show. I think they go there. It's Netflix. They want to set a tone. They're not going to do it every week, every segment, every month on Netflix. But for the first night, I think they're going to go out there and not be afraid to do it.
That would be good. I mean, I think that would be optimum. I mean, Rollins and straight brawls kind of that Punk excels in, without like the confines of like a Hell in a Cell or a gimmick. That's something to bring into question. It's going to be fascinating to watch, I think.
With me, with the brawling with Rollins, is the punches. It's like all upper body. It's just with the stringy hair, it just doesn't look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that he'll hone in there. It's just by the tone of his promos and how he's delivered and how they make him look in the promos. I feel that he'll have the extra gear in the fighting, because it should look like a fight, like you said. It can't be acrobatics. It should have some elements of that, but the baseline of this match needs to be center ice, gloves down, kick ass, fucking neck on neck, killing each other.
Yeah, and it is, to me, it is. I'm back and forth now, because I mean, it is a tough ask for Rollins to do that, because like you think with Punk, like I think everybody universally likes the Hell in the Cell with McIntyre. But that's a real, big physical guy that can dish it out too. And they finally had like the structure of a match to work with and to get that kind of personal feel over in the Hell in a Cell. But even like the MJF matches that Punk had, like I think those are, very good, great. But I think giving the kind of build up to them, they could have reached that like incredible level. I do think MJF was the reason they did not, just like his overall performance and not being able to kind of step up and match the intensity and a brawling aspect with Punk when they got in the ring.
I do agree with you. I would be surprised if Rollins got to that as well. This is probably like a 4-star special, right? Like there's going to be some aspects that are really, really incredible, but overall, can Rollins match the intensity? I agree with that sentiment. I'm a little nervous that he can't, because he would rely on his athletic ability and whatnot, but that doesn't really need that here, or it doesn't really call for that.
I think there's a way you can tell. I think there's a way you could tell that story, just like with the old versus new.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff you could do with that, where like, Punk goes for a dive and Rollins steps out of the way and then, very quickly runs up the ropes and hits a dive, or, it's something like that, like to show that he has the athleticism and Punk's lost a step. I think there's ways to do that, but yeah, the actual structure of the match, I hope, takes on kind of a brawl heavy, like much like the promo, brawl heavy, personal, doesn't overstay its welcome, and then that's it. And I think that should be too, because I think this is a real opportunity for like a step one in their feud going forward. Where I mean, I would have Rollins win for
Ooh,
sure.
I would think Punk would win.
I think Punk might win,
Yeah.
just because I mean he doesn't lose, but I would have Rollins win. I think if Rollins loses, it hurts him more for sure than if Punk loses. I think you can have Rollins win here, you know, easy, like again, another outsmart or some, you know, athleticism. You know, it's like, oh, like Punk maybe on his best day can beat Seth Rollins, but he's not able to consistently do that. Like there's stories to tell. Then you have Punk's kind of redemption arc up to Mania. He wins at Mania, whatever. He's the champion. Then you got a ready set feud like right after that. So it sets it up.
Triple H has done a pretty decent job of catering to guys that have taken losses and altering their character in that direction to improve that. So I'm curious what that would do for actually either guy now that you say that, right? So
yeah,
I'm curious. It's weird, right? I feel that Punk is more of a focal point at the start of 2025, and as he should. He's probably his career is going to end a lot quicker than Seth's probably, right? So
yeah. I mean, of the full-time guys, I'm not including Cena, whatever he is. I mean, of their full-time roster members, I mean, I would only have Roman and Cody as far as more integral right now to what they're doing than Punk.
So I feel that he's most likely going to win. Personally, I feel like he should win because he's more of a priority. He potentially main eventing WrestleMania one of these nights, probably against Roman or so to speak. And I don't know where that falls Seth on, maybe Gunther, but we'll see, right? So
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they still got some way to roadmap there. Like it definitely seems like, I mean, this far out, I don't know if we'll have answers for Mania after this debut or not. That'll be interesting to see because
I don't know if I really necessarily want them either, right? I just want
I think they can.
I want the roadmaps to go
hold
down.
them out. Yeah. I think they have some avenues to go because we know the rumors of like Cody, Cena, and Roman Punk. If
Could be red
Rock
herrings.
is whatever, but yeah, I don't think we. And I mean, with Roman Punk, if that's not, I don't know, does that have to be for the title? Does it not? I don't necessarily think it does, but still, like it is just like a special singles match. It's a weird match. Like it's obviously a big match, but for it to like main event a WrestleMania on its own, I would think you'd have to prop it up with some more support too. It's interesting.
It needs some work because the baseline of the secret or the favor, it's not the secret, the favor of Paul Heyman getting me a main event WrestleMania match versus you. Where's the juice on that? It's a nice, that's like a nice spice to a match, but that can't be the crux of a main event match to WrestleMania.
No, right? and Punk doesn't feel like, I mean, he can spin it, but it certainly doesn't feel like it almost feels like, all right, like with whatever Cena's doing, that's like your gold watch match too. So like you don't want to do that for Punk. Like, oh yeah, he finally gets his main event. Like he's just not that sentimental as a character to where that really resonates. Where it's like, oh, good for him. Like you could be a fan of him and be happy for that, but that can't be the main crux.
If I was to bet on this or whatever, I'd bet Punk because I felt like back to the promo that Seth was given more daggers, no pun intended, right? Because they use that effectively in the promo, but I felt Seth was given more shots at CM Punk to kind of wonder because I think he needs it. He needed the pop. Like, oh wow, I can't believe he said that. Oh wow, I can't believe he said that. I feel like Seth needed that more than CM Punk needed that in the promo exchange. And I feel like CM Punk at the end of the day is going to look fine coming out of the Netflix debut winning, where Seth had a great promo and maybe slept on a banana peel or whatever, or however he gets to the loss. So I still feel that he's ticking up here, kind of heading into the new year. And he's finally fully healthy too. 2024, he was hampered with injuries up and down the year. So
yeah, I like physicality.
Yeah.
Once he gets in the ring, he's got to ensure he can maintain that physicality. I don't know. I mean, his body, like Punk has never been, I mean, even back in the, his IWA Mid-South days, he wasn't the most athletic guy in the world either, like compared to some of the other indie stalwarts. It was just his believability and stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Chad, it was fun to get you on here, talk some modern day. It seems like every January you dip your toes back into the modern wrestling scene. Is that a habit or what?
I think it's good just to check in. Obviously, from a WWE standpoint, I think the most interesting time frame for them is from now till Mania.
Of course.
It's a good time to kind of check the barometer. They have a lot of going on this year with this Netflix debut, and then the Rumble, and then the Saturday night's main event, as we talked about last month, and then another one this month too. So a lot's going on. So it's interesting to see what they do. And I mean, I am interested in some of the developments leading into Mania season. I think they have several options. I know I'm not talking about it, but I think doing Solo versus Roman on this Raw too. I think that's good.
Get it out.
Get it out of the way. We're done with this. Like please get that something
it's not in that chapter of 2024 in the bloodline. Move on.
Yes, because that's what really burned me out. Honestly, last year is. I mean, I thought Mania was a good peak, but then after that, just the whole bloodline versus bloodline stuff didn't interest me at all. So
it didn't have the juice. It didn't have the juice. The bar was so high.
I'm interested to see how they, build up.
Yeah, for sure. They have the players to be phenomenal. We'll see. And as we close here on the pod, I'm curious to see what this show looks like. What Netflix juice brings to Monday Night Raw, right? We saw different changes on Fox when SmackDown started on Fox. I want to see what they do for Netflix and what it looks like, because my anticipation is high and I would expect a lot.
Yeah, it seems like definitely if the black mat is true, that it's going to be kind of a darker aesthetic and all that. So I think that'll be fun to see how it's
pops the red too,
sure.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Looks cool. All right, Chad, it was good. 2 months in a row. You talking modern wrestling. Love to see it. All right, guys. Catch you on the next one. Thank you.